What is going on, movie meals? Movie meals. Look at this. Will Kyle and I'll ever stop moving? Two white backgrounds. At least I got a fireplace. It's all crooked. I am moving. I have officially moved into my house, but I've got crap everywhere, and I have yet to get anything prepared for a real studio. But I'm excited because I actually have the space, my own space. I was kind of mooching off my family for a while, so I finally have my own space here to make a real studio. So I'm excited because have we ever really had a real studio? Not really. Or like a legit setup.
we
I mean, we really haven't.
we've had like 12 different setups like in the
Well,
past 5 years that we've been doing this.
we have. Um, but
Just
I'm excited.
it'll never end either.
No.
You should be
Uh
excited. I hear it's going to be great things. Great things
yeah,
are
he
coming in
heard
your
that from me
studio.
before we went on the recording here. But before we get too far into the video, let's thank our patrons, Steve, Kimberly, and Karen, who pay us the tiny bits of money that help us survive. So if you want to be a member of that, go be a member of that. Go get some movie meals merch. I don't have any on currently. I don't even know where clean clothes are right now. I've been moving so much, been wearing the same thing for the last 2 days. But
All right.
yeah, hence the hat. But Falcon Winter Soldier episode 4. Not all spoilers after show review. Let's get into it. So let's just start off the bat. I do want to mention this. No, I'll wait for it to be later.
Oh,
Kyle,
all
what
right.
was just your thoughts of this episode? Where do you want to start? What are you thinking? Spoil it up?
This episode was great. Like I think this probably was like the best episode of the series so far. And it really took things up a notch with this show. I really liked how um John Walker's character kind of got exposed a little bit more in this episode. Like we're starting to see his true colors, especially now that he has the super soldier serum in him. Like it's showing his true colors even more so. It's kind of similar to Steve Rogers in a way where, Steve Rogers was completely a good person. And when he took the soldier serum in the first place, like it just dialed it up another notch. Like he still was that person, while John Walker is the complete opposite almost. He just does not embody Captain America the way that Steve does. And if after taking the soldier serum and the aftermath of what happened there, like it clearly shows. And I don't think people were surprised that his colors showed, but I think what happened when he did reveal himself really did take things up a notch for the show. And I also really liked how it showed a little bit more about the personalities of Winter Soldier and Falcon. Winter Soldier, like the beginning scene where he's learning like no longer to be in control like he used to be, like he finally could be in his own person. He was learning how to overcome that in like the beginning scene of Wakanda. I thought that was some great stuff and great tie-ins with everything there. And then with Falcon, I think a little bit more so in this episode, it showed why Steve wanted him to be Captain America, especially when he was talking to the head of the Flag Smashers. I'm spacing on her name now, unfortunately, but
It was like Callie, wasn't it?
something like that. I'll have to look
I'll
it
look
up
it
here.
up
And just okay,
while
great.
you're
But
talking.
that conversation between the both of them, where he's like, he's trying to comfort her. He's trying to use the training that he used in military or after his military to where he's trying to help, veterans heal in a lot of ways. And he uses that quite a bit when he's talking to her. And I thought like it just was a good eye-opening moment that we don't really see much in like the past movies with Falcon, really showing like how good of a person he is, even if he's not necessarily Steve Rogers 2.0, but there is good within him that could make him like be a great Captain America. So those are my initial thoughts. I really thought with those three characters, and also the character of Callie too. I thought there was like some good stuff with the
Carly.
four of
I
them.
looked it up.
Harley, thank you.
No. You're still good. Carly.
Carly. Oh, I heard Harley. Sorry.
Carly. Yep.
Yeah, but and Harley too. I really liked that they showcased her. Did I say it again?
You still said Harley. Yes.
Dang it. Whatever her name is, Carly, Harley, Barley, Marley, whatever her name is. Like I thought that they showed some good stuff with her too. But what about you? What did you think?
I thought this was the best episode by far. I first let's just touch on the Wakanda stuff. I loved all the
Mhm.
Wakanda stuff. I think we dropped that we thought that was a Okoye. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
I that was a mistake on my part. I believe her name is Ao. I
yeah,
believe
she
that was her
was
name.
fantastic.
She's awesome. Yeah.
And I loved that storyline. The opener was so good with Sebastian Stan, and the
Hmm.
fact that showing when he was freed. Um, I really like the stuff with Carly. She has been talking to
Harley?
quite a, yes, Harley. She has been talking to, like she gets a bunch of different similar moments of like deep conversation about their plan with many different people, which I find is interesting. It's not like they have one henchman that's kind of following around. She's had it with multiple different people, which I've kind of
Hmm.
liked. Um, I like the way they fleshed her out. I absolutely loved the conversation with her and Sam. And I loved Sam saying, look, this is what I did before I became an Avenger. Like I lost my partner and I'm trained to counsel people on loss and let
Yeah.
me talk to her. And I thought that was great. Then her using that as a trap to get John Walker there. I loved that final shot with him in the shield just completely bloodied up was amazing. And they
Whew.
went there.
Is
Hey,
they went
Disney's
there, man.
violent.
It was
Disney's
crazy.
violent. Disney has always been violent, but you can get
Disney
away with it
trust
by just
Feige.
not. They do. I mean, they've always been violent, but you get rid of the blood and you desensitizes everything. But they're adding a little
Yeah.
bit of blood in. The amount of blood in this show tells me that if they were to bring in Charlie Cox as Daredevil, that it could work because you could meet in the middle and tone
Mm,
down his violence to
yeah.
this level. I think you could absolutely tone it down and still make it pretty intense because this is intense. I mean, he
Yeah.
killed a man by beating him in the head with his shield, and then they showed half the shield covered in blood. It's pretty.
That imagery
That's some
was
Daredevil stuff. That's pretty
that
cool.
that imagery was pretty crazy though. Like I think on top of people already hating that character, like that imagery just showed like what the point of this show is all about is that it's the legacy of Captain America, what it mean to everyone outside of the Avengers of Captain America, and to see this new guy trying to take on the mantle and it almost working, but then it's just this reveal that it can't work twice because
Yeah.
Steve Rogers is Captain America. And I know I just said like maybe Falcon could be Captain America, he could be close, but even still, this show is showing the legacy and what this mantle means while still fleshing out his buddies in Falcon and Winter Soldier. But anyway, keep
Yeah,
going.
I loved that last little bit because it was an absolute parallel off of Civil War and Winter Soldier. I mean, the final shot,
Yes.
we have that exact same shot with Cap in multiple movies of, the camera looking up at him and the sun behind him and what he is a symbol of. But then to think about the fact that Captain America was standing over Tony Stark doing the exact same thing in Civil War. He was going to kill him,
Mm-hmm.
and he th- threw his shield into the arc reactor instead of killing him and not letting the rage of this man um, going after and trying to kill his best friend. I mean, obviously in Civil War, they don't kill Bucky like what happens here.
Yeah.
And I believe he is dead. There's some rumors that because they go back to a shot of him, even though it's his dead
Bucky isn't the
body.
one that Bucky is the one that's dead. The wording was a bit weird, but Bucky isn't the one dead. It's one of Barley's henchmen that's dead. The way you said it was just weird, but
No,
yeah.
it is not weird. And I'm not even talking about one of the henchmen. I'm talking about John Walker's partner who is dead.
Oh, right.
That
Sorry,
is what
I
I am
was hearing
talking
it.
about.
Right. Sorry, I got
Um,
confused. What you meant?
yeah, no, I can't remember his name. Do you remember his name?
Battlestar was his code name. I can't remember his actual
Battlestar.
name
So
off the top of my head. I can
Battlestar,
look it up.
they did have a lingering shot. They went back to a shot of his dead body after John was beating him. And I wonder if that could be a tease that maybe he's not actually dead and he's going to be alive. And if he's back, that's fine. It's something Marvel always does. So you kind of expect at this point for their heroes to come back. But if he stays dead, I think it's very, very impactful for the show. But it shows that there is only one Captain America. That one guy. I mean, Cap got angry. He got that mad. You were coming after his best friend. He was going to kill his best friend. And when
Mm-hmm.
Cap got the lead on him, he didn't do it. John Walker did, and he went full rage. And to have Sam and Bucky watching, to have Bucky was there both times. Sam was not. Bucky was there both times, and he is seeing that parallel. And I can't wait for the next episode to see what how he feels about that and how Bucky talks about it. But the fact that the whole world is seeing this new Captain America kill a man by
Hmm.
beating him to death with the shield is just it was awesome. It was one of the best parts of Marvel yet, I thought. It was so good. And then another fight scene I really loved was obviously the Dora Milaje just absolutely kicking the pants out of those two. I thought that was amazing. That fight scene was awesome. The girls absolutely destroyed them. Bucky's little joke I thought was great. Him being like, "Oh, you're doing great there, John," or like, "Did you stretch today?" Whatever he said. It was awesome. I thought that fight was great, and I loved the way Falcon was talking about it too. And he's like, "Trust me, man, you do not want to fight these guys. Like, you do not want to fight these ladies." But
Yeah.
and then you also get the moment that the Zemo stuff. I really liked the Zemo stuff in this episode too. He's escaped. Um, we knew at some point he was going to escape. I did like the fact that he picked up the serum, and he took a long, lingering look to think about it. And I liked that even though he has his code and he has stuck to the code and they've stuck to the rules, that he's still, because everybody, even if you have such an agenda against it, would sit there and think for a second, should I take the serum? Should I become super powered? He doesn't. John gets it, which I know you talked about how you didn't really want him to be a super soldier. Um, I was a little bit more on the fence either way, but I'm
Hmm.
glad they went this route with it instead of the route of him just already being a super soldier. I like that
Same.
he gets the serum, the way he handles it, taking it. I love the lead up to it where he's like, dude, we just got our butts kicked by these random ladies that just showed up, and they're not even super soldiers. Like, I get it when we're losing to these flag smashers, but we lost to normal people. Like, they're just, I mean, they're amazing,
They're
but
just next level. Yeah.
yeah, they're just on that X game mode. But
Yeah.
I loved all of that. So how did you feel?
I did like the stuff with Zemo. Although like I haven't really brought this up. Like the character has been retconned a little to be like kind of rich. This rich guy that has like this whole other backstory other outside of like what we thought was just like a normal family man type of guy. It was a bit odd, but I still am rolling with it because the character of Zemo is still true to what we've seen of him from Civil War, so it's been fine with me, and it works for the story too. But I did especially like him in this episode because he just keeps, almost in a way, just keeps proving more and more that he is right in some ways, like when it comes to all of this stuff in regards to like the super soldier serum and how people with power are just not always going to be like having the best or truest intentions. Like the Zemo stuff is still very excellent to me, and yeah, it wasn't surprising that he escaped and whatnot. I'm really curious to see where he went after this, but I did like that scene too of him taking a hard look at the serum, and you're like, is he actually going to take it? Because he probably still had those questions in his mind, like you were saying. But I did like the route that he went to, where he destroyed all of them except for the one that Walker had, and I
Now,
still like what they did with Walker in regards to him getting the serum. That ended up working really well for me.
have you watched Age of Ultron lately?
No, it's probably been about a year or so.
Because I don't remember them explicitly saying that he was like rich or low income at all. I just remember it being he was just loved his family. Did they specifically say he wasn't rich?
I watched Civil War recently, and they explained a little bit
Or
briefly.
Civil
They
War is what
explained
I meant.
his backstory briefly, where he was like in the military of some kind, and they never did specify on whether he was rich or poor. Although, like, just seeing how he was going about his business, like kind of just being under the radar and staying at like not the nicest hotels. Like he's not staying at like his own place, like out in Cabo or whatever. So it always just seemed like, I think for most fans, that he was average. Like he was well off, but he wasn't like necessarily rich or poor. But he was well off or not. At least that's how I perceive that
Well,
character to be anyway.
he says when Sam asks him, he's like, "Oh, how we didn't know you, like, you're rich. And he says, well, I am a baron, and a baron is a title given to somebody
Yeah.
of great nobility. So
Mhm.
I always just assumed he was rich just from the fact that that's his name in the comics. Um, I never even really thought about it one way or the other. It worked for me.
They just
So it
never
didn't
called
even,
him they just never called him Baron Zemo like in the comics in Civil War. They only just called him Zemo for most of the
he's not
movie, if I
referred to
remember.
Baron Zemo in the comics at all.
No, he is. I'm saying in Civil
Oh,
War he was only referred to as
you
Zemo
said
for the
both.
most part. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, to me, it didn't feel like a retcon at all. It just made sense. By the time they got there, it just made sense to me. But I had already kind of pictured that in my mind. I do want to talk about a theory though. So there's rumors that there's going to be a cameo in this,
Yeah,
by
fire
a
away.
known character. And I saw a little preview the other day,
Mr.
for
Fantastic
the
Beast,
next episode.
Magneto.
I think we're going to get Hawkeye. I think Hawkeye will be the character because we still have seen in the trailers, and I saw it again the other day, of Sam getting the shield and practicing the shield kind of out in like an open wood area. Guess who owns a house in the woods with a lot of acres? Hawkeye. So I think, and it
Yeah.
makes sense if his show is going to be, it's not next after this, but if his show's going to be coming up, they could be teasing his show. Because if you remember, um, Marvel movies didn't always used to tease the next movie. They used to tease what made the most sense. So sometimes a Captain America movie would tease like the next, Ant-Man or something, or vice versa. But I
Sure.
think they did do that, didn't they? Like, even though the next Cap movie wasn't supposed to come out next chronologically, they teased the movie that was on Earth, and then like Guardians might tease something that was a little bit more big with a Thanos. And so they could easily, instead of teasing like Loki, or doing what WandaVision did and just kind of teasing what's next, which again, WandaVision did that. WandaVision is teasing what she will be like for the Doctor Strange movie,
Hmm.
which is not coming out for a while. So I think this will tease Hawkeye, and maybe whether the after credit scene or this, that they'll go meet up with him, talk with him, um, and that he will train with the shield there when he gets it. I have a feeling, I mean, he could get at the start of this episode. All it's going to take is John to look around and realize that everybody's videotaping him. He drops the shield and run. Like he just gets out of there.
Yeah,
And
totally.
then they take it. Or Bucky is about
Hmm.
to go ballistic and go after him and say what you've done with that shield is sacrilege, and go after him,
Yeah.
which I'd be happy with either. But if they started this episode with an amazing fight between the two, that would be awesome.
Oh yeah.
Um, so, but I do think Hawkeye is the most likely. He makes the most sense. It doesn't make sense for these. It made sense for us to get ridiculous with WandaVision because anything was possible. There's a little bit more limits here. There's not magical powers ripping open a multiverse, and they're not teasing it with Evan Peters. They're not doing any of that. Who do these
Yeah.
two guys call when they need to get away? They should call one of their buddies in the Avengers, and somebody they know is out of the game, and at somewhere safe. So they're gonna call up Hawkeye. I guarantee it. I think it's like 99% right now. Like, I would put money on it that I think Hawkeye will be in this show. It makes too much sense. What do you think?
No, it's gonna they're gonna show up to a cabin, but it's gonna be revealed that Hugh Jackman is back as Wolverine. Lock it in. That's what's happening, Alex.
You would lose your absolute mind. You would
Sure, I would.
lose your absolute mind. Um,
Yeah, I think that's a really good guess. I see that being Hawkeye. I think that makes the most sense. And yeah, they would probably like just show up at his farm and he's like, guys, come on, leave me alone. And they're like, nope, sorry, buddy.
Yeah, because the only other like barn wood area would have been Tony's house with Pepper, where they had the funeral scene as well. But
Could have
that
been, yeah.
doesn't make sense because it doesn't make sense for them to go to Pepper Potts. Like, why on earth would that make sense? They should go to somebody that was not only on Team Cap with them, but
Hmm.
is in the same boat. And I think Hawkeye absolutely makes the most sense. And I think
Hmm.
it'd be cool to go back there. I like those parts of Age of Ultron. I like that they were on the run doing kind of the, Tony's just fixing the tractor to kind of keep his mind off of things, or
Sure,
Cap's
yeah.
chopping wood. Like, I liked that stuff. I like when our big characters go to the small moments. So that's my theory. And I think think it's a smart bet. I don't know if it'll be next episode, but I think it will happen. But we only have what,
Okay.
2 left? We have 2 left,
Yeah,
don't we?
6-episode series. Mhm.
Wow, this is the penultimate. That's crazy. That is
Mhm.
crazy. Anything else on the show you want to talk about?
I feel bad for Bucky. It seems like now officially he has to cut ties with Wakanda. And it seemed like he really had some good connections within there, and especially because they helped him as much as they did. So
Why does he have to cut ties?
it just seemed, the sense that I got, like after Ao like disassembling his arm, doing like the weird poking thing or whatever it was, and disassembling it, it came across as her being like, because you're not giving us Zemo like we asked, like you're out. Like we don't
Wow, that is not
like
how I
you.
read that at all.
What the sense that I got, but I don't know. Do you feel differently about it?
I feel very differently
Oh,
about it.
I don't know. Maybe I read it wrong too. I have no idea.
I thought
What
that
do you think
moment,
then? Yeah.
I thought that moment where she takes the arm off and then he has like a baffled moment that he had no idea that could just happen, I think was them just saying, look, if you get
Right.
out of hand, we will rein you in. We can rein you in. And you have taken our dude and
Okay.
we want him back. So if you're going to put up a resistance, we're going to rein you in. I don't see them cutting ties with him. Not that necessarily he does have connections, but he's, I just don't see it as like, he'll go running to Wakanda if he needs help. I just don't think he's like Cap in that way. But I do
Sure.
think it was a warning shot, and it was saying, because I think if they really were going to cut ties, they beat the living crap out of him.
Probably. Yeah.
But I just took it as hey, if you mess with us, well, we can take you out. Like we can easily
Alright.
do it. So don't mess with us.
I like that
But
too.
yeah,
I like that too. I didn't think of it in that way. Like on first watching, I was like, oh geez, that sucks. But
first
yeah, I like
watching,
that way too.
gonna watch it again, huh?
I might. It was a good episode.
It's a great episode. I
Can't
really
blame
enjoyed
me.
it. Anything else you want to touch on here?
Uh no, that was probably my final thoughts. I really am liking um where this show is going. I
Me
think it's a
too.
really good direction so far, and I after this episode, like it really just made me appreciate that it seems like these writers and showrunners are really making sure to like do their research when it comes to the Captain America series and some of the other Avengers movies. Like it seems like they really took the time to understand like what was said throughout like this trilogy of movies to make sure they understand like the mantle of Cap correctly for this universe, this MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I'm really appreciating that they're doing that, especially with this episode.
Yeah, me too. It was the best yet. I really love this show. I'm excited to see the making of documentary too that they're going to put out after,
Mm-hmm.
just because it is so much more bloody, and I'd love to hear them talk about that.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
but this show is really good. Marvel they have done something that has never happened before. And I'm gonna preach it until it stops. So if we go for the next 40 years, I'll go the next 40 years and preach it. But
Yeah.
I think Kevin Feige in this story and the group, I think they're like a new movie rats crew, like Martin Scorsese and Spielberg and Lucas were all, and Brian De Palma and Francis Ford. I think all of those guys, they kind of changed the way we did cinema. And I think Kevin Feige, and I think he's the head, where there it was kind of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's the head. And then you've got guys like James Gunn and the Russos,
Taika.
and those directors, Taika, who are kind of creating this insane television show on the big screen, and it's just awesome. I'm loving this show and everything they're doing with it. I think it's wonderful, and I think Kevin Feige at this point, because it's his love child. I mean, yes, he's not writing the scripts, but he's the one on the writers' room saying, well, I want you to go in this direction, do this, we can tweak this here, and then the writers might say, oh, we came up with this idea, we wrote it in, what do you think? Kevin Feige is one of the greatest storytellers of all time. He's up there with George Lucas, George R. R. Martin. Honestly, he's up there with Tolkien. Like he's just up there, I think, at this point. And every time I watch one of these episodes, I sit back and think about everything that has come out in a little over 10 years and how incredible it is. It's never going to be done again. And I think DC had the same conversation that I'm having with the audience right now. And they're like, we're not going to do it, so let's just stop trying. And then Snyder Cut did well, and they're like, never mind, we can do it. Anyway, Gotta have a DC shot in there. We're Marvel shills.
You do, and you're accurate.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning into this episode of the after show for Falcon Winter Soldier. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. As always, thank you to the Movie Meal patrons. Go get some merch, all linked in the description. Go check out Another Happy Landing. We've got trailer reactions. Movies are starting to come back. Mortal Kombat next week, right? Next weekend, technically. Mortal Kombat's coming up.
2 weeks. 2 weeks from now.
I thought they pushed it back 1 week. Boo. I've waited long enough.
The 23rd of April, I believe. It's almost there.
All right. Yeah, it'll be a fun one now that we can go see some movies again. Get vaccinated so you can go see movies.
Yeah.
Do that.
Do it.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess as always, thanks for watching, Mom.
See you guys.